too late. It's too late to even think about doing anything.
Yeah.
All right, I got you up on me.
Yep. Watching. How's it look now?
It looks good right now. It comes and goes.
Oh God.
We've got 1,000 Face Shadow and Ninja, but I think one of the big things that obviously we're going to take a look towards is some of these green cards, right? Green White was obviously very good in Neo Draft, but it's also generically good. Things like Kappa Tech Wrecker. And then also this Blossom Prancer have gotta be something that you take a look at. They're generically good pretty much all the time. Kami, very good for the set. I don't know if it's terribly great for what you want to be doing overall, but as we start to do a Mega Draft, some of these Ninja cards also maybe make some sense. Now, you guys in chat can correct me if I'm wrong, but the players are allowed to like draft together, but they can't exchange cards, right? Yeah. No exchanging, but they do get to chat about where they're going. They must also be sitting opposite of the table, would be my guess, right? That's typically how team drafts go. Teaching of the Kirin's a general good card. Interesting, we took the Ninja, though. We see the 1,000 Face Shadow down here towards the bottom. And so maybe that means we're still going to stick with the green one. I don't think that this Ninja is something that you want to stick with guaranteed. A little surprised to see this 1,000 teachings kind of pass, right? Like this is just generically a good 2-drop that ends up getting some value, some hate in the graveyard. Yeah, and I think Pease is probably right. I think I probably would have liked generally the Kappa Tech record just because having a naturalize on a death touch creature is already really strong, and just the ability to sort of pick it back up, ninja it in, like in general is good here. Oh, I think the teaching is exactly what you want in the Kirin. Taking a look into it, I mean, Shrine is not really where you want to be. Dragon Spark Reactor is a pretty synergistic card. Not a whole lot here that I'm really excited about. I think the ninja that they're hovering, the human ninja, the Moon Snare Specialist, probably just a generically good card. Really? I think Teaching of the Kirins is a constructed playable card. It's like on that edge. Oh, all right. All right, well, we'll see, right? We'll see if he ends up playing it, and we'll see if it ends up working out. I don't think that this Goshen Tai is where you want to be at. I think the Moon Snare Specialist kind of solidifies you in there. You can end up like picking a couple things up with a couple ninjas here and there. What's up? What's up, Travely? Welcome on in, everybody. Greatly appreciate you all being here. But as it seems, we've got a couple of things here that are looking for enchantments. So maybe this Kami does work out pretty well. I don't think Essence Capture is where you necessarily want to be at. Black has been pretty dry overall. And so maybe, I mean, we're in 3 colors at the moment. Blossoming Sands is certainly something to take a look at. I think the Kami's probably just, again, sort of a generically good pick that you can pick up here. It picks up, gaining 3 life is reasonable, 4/3 body is reasonable. Fade into Antiquity plays really well against many sagas, particularly the ones that flip over. Not so great against a lot of the sagas where you just like play the saga and it gets done. But we've seen some sagas where they flip over at the end of them, particularly in Kamigawa, but we've seen a couple of others as well. And so that plays particularly well. Yeah, this is Chris R's draft. We are seeing things sort of dry up a little bit. Like a lot of these cards, just not really something I'm interested in. You know, I would probably take a Scoured Barons as like maybe the top 3 cards in the pack. Disruption Protocol is a reasonable card to pick up. I don't think you're tapping too many artifacts for it. I didn't quite see the card that they picked. It looks like, the Tameo Safekeeping. Okay. Very reasonable 1-drop. I don't hate a Bamboo Grove Archers. Yeah, I would agree. Pretty mid picks going on right now. Nothing that's really exciting or reaching out. And it's, they're doing the treasured. Okay, a treasure ninja. Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's nothing wrong with that, with picking up lands early and often in drafts like this, because it really allows you to realize what kind of splashes you get. If you end up picking up, let's just say a big, in this one, a red-green card, but you don't have a single red splashing land and it's pack 5, you can't play that card really anymore. Now, the Prosperous Thief is certainly something to be thinking about that, because that obviously connects in and ends up making treasures. So treasures is another way to go. But, you're going to get, 6 packs... is 90 cards or so, just shy of that. So, the more cards you can play, the better. And so basic lands are the cards you don't really get to pick. Adding in some additional tap lands, adding in some additional life gain on lands, that's all very helpful stuff, I think. And we've actually seen a lot of these lands kind of go pretty early. And sometimes, I've done a couple practice Mega Drafts. I've never actually done it in top 8 for anything. But you get a little, the first couple of packs feel very samey as a regular draft. And you're like, okay, I'm going to take the good cards. I'm fixing to come around. And it'll all kind of work out. And then by the time pack 3 hits, and you're like, we've got 3 more packs. I've already got a deck. Now I can start focusing on making this deck better. And I think that's a pretty sort of, basic approach that a lot of newbies probably take. But if you can really start to think, how can my 6 packs do really well? Normally you'd try to take about 6 cards per pack or so. But if you can make that 7 or 8 playable cards per pack by taking fixing and other options there, utility lands, that can really, really sort of help. I don't know if I necessarily love this Bearer of Memory. I always thought it was kind of a middling card at best anyway. 6 mana is just a lot for the effect. I don't know how many enchantment creatures they're going to have over the course of the entire opportunity here. None of these are really that exciting either. Really, I would take this red-black land. Even though we're not playing red or black, you never know what you're going to pick up later. I don't think you're taking Awakened Awareness, right? Yeah, and so let's imagine you're playing 24 lands, which is a little on the low side, but if you're hyper efficient and really good about it, 24 seems about right. Yeah, I would have a tendency to agree with Bear there as well. You want 6 cards per pack. Now, let's imagine that Chris here is not playing white, which is, very reasonable based on how we are here. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then potentially a 9th pick here that he could play. These cards that he's drafting now are likely not going to be making the cut. I don't want them to be making the cut. I don't feel good about them. So, if 2 of these cards could have been lands that could have potentially opened up available options later, I think that's going to be a good choice. Yeah, I mean, one thing to kind of note here is that Kamigawa did have a generally like a higher power level of all the sets, I think. And so, you might play 8 cards out of this, and you only have to play 3 cards, your best 3 cards out of something like a, Dom pack or something like that, right? So there certainly is something to be said about like going deep in the packs that you can go deep in, and, 13th pick or whatever, Jukai Trainee, that's a very reasonable card. It attacks and blocks very well. The unfortunate part is you're really only attacking and blocking with it, and I don't think that's exactly where you want to be right away. It's not all Neo. It should be in the announcements channel. Unfortunately, I can't really change over my Discord, otherwise the whole sort of stream is going to kind of go down. But I'd be willing to bet that insert funny name here, the Watcher, should be able to let us know. She usually knows lots of that kind of stuff, Rada's a reasonable card. It helps with splashing, right? It kind of splashes on its own. The other thing, if I remember correctly, not Urza's Tome. That wasn't particularly it. The Familiar is for historic spells. Sagas are historic, so if you're playing lots of sagas, we're already in green. That might be something to look for. Neo, Dom, Theros, Kaldheim, DMU, Mom. Boom. Thank you, sir. Also can't go wrong with a Blink of the Eye, right? So I think I'm looking at the Familiar. I'm looking at Blink of an Eye. Not a whole lot else. Not a lot else. Adamant Wall's a reasonable card. I don't think it's for our deck. Urza's Tome is fine. I'd be a little hesitant to take it so early. And the rest of it seems okay. The other thing for the Familiar is the idea that it flies, into... I don't really want to be using my 4-drop to, do my ninjas, but is what it is. Looks like we're going to Blink with the Eye. Very reasonable card, very good card. The Mending of Dominaria. Top 2 cards. Return a creature card from your graveyard to hand. Return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Then shuffle your graveyard into your library. Is this good? I don't remember it being good. Didn't feel all that good. I might even not hate like a Relic Runner here, right? Gets in unblockable if you cast your historic spells. I don't know. Mending a Dominaria just doesn't necessarily seem like it's it, right? Because how many creatures are you realistically going to be playing? Obviously, you're going to be playing some, but I don't know. I might even look at Rescue here. 1 blue, return target permanent you control to its owner's hand. That might not be a bad idea. Yeah, seems expensive at 5. That's kind of where I'm thinking. Right? I think this Rescue card would be a good one to sort of look at, right? I think you should be able to, with the 3rd trigger on the stack, rescue your own Saga and do it again. Sarah Angel? I can never go wrong with Sarah Angel. You're 100% correct with that. I think the Mending seems just a little bit big. Broken Bond I don't hate. Honestly, Juggernaut I don't necessarily hate. Yeah. This pack just really isn't a lot. I mean, you're playing a Homerid? No. Crozen Druid? Meh. You want to gain 10 life? Not really a Curator's Ward, right? I guess you could ward it, it's a Divination. I have to suspend 1 turn. Looks like we're taking a Rona. Disciple of Gix. Fungal Plan, that kind of goes long, I think. I think this 4-3 for 6 was way too big. Divination is generally okay. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't think the Orgoros, I think his name is. That was way too expensive. Yeah, probably. I think Fungal Plans is a very playable card. It just is generally okay. Sacrifice 2 Saplings, gain life, and draw 2 cards. As you sort of go through your deck, you eventually just kind of put some creatures in your graveyard. You can make some more Saplings, do some chump blocking. All that feels good. Divination, reasonable. I don't know if we're playing it. I mean, now that there's even a bunch of green and blue cards, like, are we really like playing these cards? Yeah, and the other thing about it is like, I don't even think that we've seen too many other things that I'm like, oh wow, if we were red, this would have been great, right? So like Flame of Keld can be phenomenal if you can really get the aggro going, and maybe you can make it work, but it doesn't seem like there's too many people in the draft here that's trying to get something like that to work. Otherwise, you know, they're going with Deep Freeze. Is a pseudo removal spell. I think it's perfectly reasonable. I hope it doesn't make the cut, you know, but it very well could. Now, Slin Voda, that's a reasonable top end. That's a pretty good one. Otherwise, there's the Nomad Sphere, target permanent from your graveyard to hand. I don't know. The big whale here, the Leviathan, it was something in the deck at the time. It was something, but like as you can kind of tell from our DMU packs, or no, just Dom pack, everything was a lot weaker then, right? If you're going aggressive, or let's say somebody is playing a Flame of Keld deck or something, you know, Slin Vote is pretty tough. Nature Spiral definitely buys back your sagas, and I think I like that. I think I still pass up with the Slin Voda. I'd much rather have the familiar. If you're going to be playing sagas, you're going to be playing legendary creatures. Not too many artifacts in green, blue, it looks like, but I think that familiar could definitely make it. I think it's something to really consider. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Looks like we have a little bit of a technical difficulty here. Oh no, and on top of that, it's Chris's partner. Unfortunate. I'm sure they'll get things taken care of in just a moment. Everybody's coming to pour in, including Ryan and everything. Nice. Looks like we might be back in here. They are going to go with the Slin Vote, it looks like. And I think that that might be a card you probably don't want to be playing. 8 mana, 8/8. It's good when it hits the battlefield, but not that phenomenal otherwise. More time to discuss picks. Yeah, sure. One thing that you could open up to, because as he's kind of dipping in with Rona into black, one thing you could look at would be some sort of reanimation package. And like Slin Vote is a very reasonable card to pick up. Usually a lot of sets, I don't remember if there's too many in here that have like some sort of reanimation, but a lot of them had like a 5 mana, 4 mana reanimation, something that's not terribly efficient, but a lot of them also had a little kicker, right? You know, reanimate, make a food, or reanimate, you know, draw a card or something like that. Reanimate, make a zombie. And that might be something to take a look at as a good splash. Now, granted, there's not many other targets. Man, he's Jorah's Familiar still rolling around. Sure. We've seen a couple of Pierce's guys coming through. You know, as a green-blue deck, I'm a little less scared of flyers, but I mean, we're in the middle of pack 2. We are not guaranteed green-blue. Not guaranteed green-blue at all. Yeah. I think the rescue still is something I'd take a look at if we're going to be a little bit more saga heavy. Also, it's literally just, you know, blank a removal spell, replay your creature next turn. But looks like the Compass is attempting to make it in as a mana fixer or a sideboard card. Broken Bond is a reasonable sideboard card. True. Same kind of goes for something like this Corrosive Ooze. Like, I don't know. I hope we're not playing it. Shoot, I hope we're not playing Jukai Training, and that's way better than Corrosive Ooze. I know a couple people said in chat, but like this pack was not terribly kind to Chris. This pack was not terribly kind. But I don't really think that, you know, if he went and tried to abandon colors or went down a different route, I don't really think that he would have found that much success there either. True. Yo. All right. I don't think Theros Beyond Death is going to be a particularly strong pack. Like, it might be the second worst, but definitely bottom half. But if you got yourself a Dream Trawler, it's your best pack, right? Like, this is it. We're instantly splashing. Get them in here. Hands down. Slap it. Pivot. We're doing it. Do note, like, the carry added is something that's going to really help out, and hopefully we can get it to wheel. It's the only green card in the entire pack, so I don't expect it to wheel, but there's an outside chance that nobody else has major green. And that will help with both ramp and fixing, which is going to be quite good. Don't you dare put that thing in the sideboard. You just read the card, Chris. Read the card. Destiny Spinner was okay, right? Kind of goes well in long matchups. I do think you want to start targeting things like Dreadful Apathy, right? You want to start to cut white a little bit. That's true. I don't really think there's too many other things. I do think you want to start to steer away from black and really only splash like any main bombs, particularly because Dream Trawler is already double white. So I don't really want to go like green, double blue, double white, and then maybe a black. Hey, Entrancing Liar. That's a pretty good one. Can lock something down. Thirst for Memory is perfectly fine. I think that's a little bit better off than your Divination that we had earlier. Revoke Existence is very reasonable if we want to get into a little bit more white, but I think the Liar is particularly where you want to be. You don't think he has to go into white to play the Dream Trawler? I think that it has to be a pretty heavy commitment, right? We need at least, what, 6? Well, no, you need like probably 5 sources in a 40 card deck. So you need to get up to like 8 to 10 sources in a 60 card deck. And I don't really want to be playing 8 planes or whatever, right? So obviously we need some 2 mana spells, maybe some, there's 3 mana rocks all over the place. Like every set has a 3 mana rock. So maybe something, that would be something to look towards as well. But you really want to be figuring this out. We're taking the Chimera, the Escape Chimera. And as a 4-1, I don't know how much I love that. But something with Escape I don't hate. I actually think that I might have preferred... I didn't even see the Brine Giant, and that might have been something we took a look at. Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think there was the Caryata that he's passed twice now, and I'm thinking he's hoping he wheels one. Or maybe we see another one. Like, that's probably a card that a lot of people may or may not actually open up and be like, oh, yeah, woo, a Caryatid. But I do think that's exactly one of the cards he wants in his deck. Now, I'm noticing that he did... he has taken a couple of, like, 4-1s and 4-2s, and that plays really well with that Caryatid. Because, obviously, he needs 4 power in order to make that work. But it certainly does. I think most sets have, like, a 2-drop that makes any color. Or, like, a 3-mana 2-3 or something like that. Labyrinth. Normally, I'm not that excited about it. Here, I don't hate it, right? It's another sort of utility land. Otherwise, One with the Stars, man, it's fine. Ichthyomorphosis, very reasonable. Turn him into a fish, huh? Have him sleep with the fishes. A 3-mana 3-2 that taps for any color? Yeesh, that is aggressive. Yeah, I think Ichthyomorphosis is a very reasonable pick here. You don't get a lot of hard removal in green-blue unless you're playing big creatures with fight spells. And so just like turn something into a 0-1 is kind of exactly where you want to be at, right? Destiny Spinner? Is this the second Destiny Spinner? We already have one? It's a reasonable card. I don't think it's anything to like write home about. I might even take the Omens of the Sea, right? 3 mana, 1/1 Death Touch. I remember that one. Underworld Breach. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Don't much. I mean, like the Grove Dancer's fine. I don't know how often you're playing that, right? Hydra's Growth is great if unanswered, but I think in a 60 card mega draft, the odds of something going unanswered is not going to be that good. All right, Gift of Strength, meh. Glory Bearers, meh. General things, meh. Eidolon Philosophy, if we're going into the big ramp strategy, that's going to be really good. You can kind of ramp into it, you know, play it down early as a blocker, and then you end up getting to sacrifice it. But I do think the Brine Giant probably is where you want to be at, right? Like, whoa! Took another Chimera, a second Loathsome Chimera. Llanowar Envoy, I see. Oh man, I think Brine Giant is probably exactly the kind of card you want, right? It's like a 3 to 5 mana 5/6. Like that's all great. Alter the Pantheon would be something to consider. What is this card over here? Constellation, enters battlefield. Target player mills. I don't know about that. I think a little bit of fixing, a little bit of gaining a life. Well, you're probably not gaining a life because you're a god or a demigod. Unsure how consistently Brine Giant can be super cheap in a 60 card deck. I mean, what's considered super cheap, right? 3 mana you'd consider super cheap, which means you'd need 3 enchantments. And so if that's the case, you probably would need somewhere close to like 20 enchantments in the deck, which is not uncommon. Now your sagas don't exactly help out exactly the same way because like they're on the battlefield for a little bit of time. But you know, I think it's something that would at least be considered. And if you look through most of what Chris has as his pool, he's either got creatures or enchantments, and sometimes there's both. And I'm not below a 4 mana, which you only need 2 enchantments then. I think that's pretty good. Binding of the Titans. Each player mills. Exile up to 2 cards from the graveyards. Gain some life. Return target creature. Land from your graveyard to hand. Eh. Meh. I'm just going to continue to make sounds. Meh. Okay, now is he going to take the Brine Giant? Oh, come on, I can't believe this doesn't... Oh, does it start at 7 mana? I thought it started at 6 mana. So now you're because you really don't want to pay a 7 mana 5/6. So you really kind of need 2 or 3 to really make it work. I think I like playing it over the Slin Voted though. And now is Neo the only one where the sagas became creatures, right? All the other sagas just like did stuff. And then they were done. One with the Stars is essentially just 4 mana. Turned into an egg. Right? Just let it sit there. Alright, let's open up. We're in pack 4, halfway through the draft. Feeling pretty okay with where things are going. Got a couple of snow options here in Kaldheim. Man, really not too many green cards. The Eyesight Troll was good, but you need snow mana, and that's a lot for only one pack. So I don't think you want to focus really on snow, but the green-blue was snow, right? 6 mana, 5/6 are not bad, but I think I'd rather have a second Loathsome Chimera too to increase the chance of being able to have one escape reliably in mid-game board stall, and both on 20, 30 cards deep. Okay. Understood. I can get behind that. Really not sure what we should be playing here. Avalanche Caller, I guess. Now, you don't need a snow mana for that, right? But you have to target a snow land. So we're going to definitely be trying to prioritize snow-covered forest and island. Shoot, you might even play a snow-covered plains if that's what you get your hands on. I don't think you played like a snow-covered waste, essentially, in like mountain or swamp. But certainly something to kind of think about. One thing you might be able to sort of work out this way is if you had any, something to look at for other drafts, not necessarily Chris's, but if you had any cards that essentially said from Neo, like you need an artifact and an enchantment, there's a lot of decent and good vehicles around here in call time that kind of worked out well. Masked Vandal is a very reasonable card. I don't think we really have any, like, sort of typal abilities that we're looking for. Masked Vandal, my love. Miss of Lityara. Miss of Lityara. I'm going to have to remember what that card does. Masked Vandal can go pretty crazy in the right setup. I mean, like, how different is Masked Vandal with Kappa Tech Wrecker? Right? Like, those have got to be pretty much the same. Finn is a very reasonable card. Apparently, we're just playing 1/3s. I got to look up this Miss of Lityara because I'm curious. Lityara. Oh, we saw that. It was the -3/-0. I think that's something we want to wheel. Yeah. That's a wheel card. We're not looking at that. Okay, so we're going with more fat, more big stuff. The old 6 mana 6/6. This one gains 4 life, but it sure as heck is not a Colossal Dreadmaw. Has no trample. Passing on Finn, looks like. I think I might take the Finn here. Not necessarily go after like the poison death, but just like it is one of few cards that win the game on their own so early in the game. It's pretty easily dealt with. It's pretty easily blocked. Wow. Playing that over the Brine Giant, looks like. Runed Crown is definitely something you could play, but you're going to need at least 2 runes. Depart the Realm. Meh. What do we got over here? Flash. Not great. Don't hate necessarily a Broken Wings. Or what is this? Raven Wings. Don't hate that. This pack has seemed a lot more red centric. We saw a couple of red rares. You got some giants. There was a blue red saga. This seems pretty red centric to me. At least that's kind of what I'm feeling. Even this like Haggy Mob is a very reasonable card to be playing. Well, Depart the Realm also kind of plays well with your sagas, right? Uh-oh. Oh, we took a snow-covered island. I was like, I thought we accidentally took an island. No, it's a snow-colored. I can get behind that snow-covered island. Another Lindworm. All right. Apparently we're doing the whole honey mammoth idea here. Strider. Is it the one that searches your library for... So it kind of ramps on 4 after attacking? Domain payoffs and DMU. Neat. That's cool. Got a splash for the Veil. Oh no, we got to splash the Dream Trawler. Pick the Veil now. See, I could, oh, Horizon Seeker brings into your hand. Okay, then I'm a little bit more off that. Okay, good choice. Creature spell if you use snow mana. That's not particularly great, but it might be the best option we have. Strategic planning is a cantrip. It's fine. Man, we see a squash going on here as well. Now, I know that your likelihood of controlling a giant isn't that high, but that seems like something that we just pay attention to. Just red, to me, seems like we're open, but I feel like, I don't know, I feel like Chris is kind of just this far in there as well, as far as green-blue with a little bit of white. Reflections of Lityara. Looking at creature typing. I don't know about that one. I mean, you could try to make it work, right? Got 2 full packs left. You can just generally take things in, like, I don't know, humans or beasts or something. I'm sure you can almost make something like that work. Helps with the shapeshifter, I guess. Elves, very reasonable sort of thing. Yeah, maybe I'm overvaluing it because I could just remember it being obviously one of the great sort of signpost red cards you want to pick in Kaldheim. I don't think Giant is really that difficult of a thing. Oh, we're taking a Snow Mountain? I guess we're not taking much of else. I think the Mistability R was probably the most reasonable card we're playing. And if I was Chris, I don't know how comfortable I'd feel. We've got like 1 card. So maybe in the next couple of packs, you know, obviously we want to start to flesh out some additional cards, like bombs. But there's nothing wrong with picking up something that is just dig for your thing, right? Like things like strategic planning, things like, you know, even something like Opt, I wouldn't hate. 5 mana 5/5 is always a great card. A little surprised to see that still in the pack, but I suppose that means nobody else is really just drafting heavy green. He's really only got 1 snow payoff, but he doesn't have a whole lot of other things in these packs, right? And so, like, there's not a whole lot of a reason to not go snow, because they're free anyway. The only one that's not free is the Shimmer Veil, the Shimmer Drift Veil, but that also is a fixer. So I don't think we're gonna end up playing something like Rona, but very reasonable. Who drafts green? Kermit the Frog. What's up, Contents? Everybody in chat from the Arena League. This is Contents. Contents is one of my best friends and sometimes my only Twitch viewer. He's about as good as it gets. Contents, we're doing the Arena Gauntlet League draft top 8. These are players who played in the Neo League that I was able to scrub out of in week 3. And these are our top 4 teams for 8 total players. So now this is a Chaos draft for those of you who aren't familiar. And that means we've got 6 total packs. We're doing a 60 card deck. And each pack is a different pack. So we just moved off of Kaldheim, and now we're into DMU. And I'm looking at that Radiant Grove. I mean, it's a forest, it's a plains. It taps for both colors. The Giants is obviously very good. A couple of other options here, but, you know. Yeah, Peas is with me. Real people on the other side of the packs that I've been gaining in the AGL. It looks like the Fire Fist Strider? Frost Fist Strider. That's what it's called. You've got an elf. It's good. The Root Wall, I suppose. Just none of this is all that exciting. Root Wall is just a regular old 2-drop. I mean, he's a good 2-drop, but exactly that. Flying Man works well with some of the other ninjas. I mean, he's got 2 ninjas, which can kind of help. But that's not terribly exciting either. Yeah, it'll get a little better once we actually get into the game. I guess, like, Tribute to Urborg is probably the best card in the pack, but I don't know if we're really playing black. I don't really want to play black. More fat, right? We've got the big old 7 mana, gain 5 life. What else is over here? What's this card? Bog Badger. 3 mana, 3/3. If it's kicked, something gets menace. Creatures you control get menace. Meh. Really, for having such a big top end and some of these worms and now this this tree folk, really don't have that much ramp. All of the ones that have sagas. So we started with Neon Dynasty, which had sagas, and then they moved into Dominaria, the original, which had sagas. Moved into what came in between? Kaldheim we just went to, and there was one other in there as well that I'm forgetting. Oh, Theros Beyond Death. Thank you. Then Kaldheim, then Dominaria United, and then March Machines. Yeah. Dream Trawler is exactly the reason why we should have taken that dual land. Now, there's only one sort of piece of ramp here. It's that Altar of the Pantheon on 3. And I really want to be getting to these 6-7 drops fast. We didn't take the Radiant Grove. Pack one picked one. Oh, it was something else. I've now since forgotten. Man, okay, please, a green-blue land? Can we take that? Maybe looking at the bite down because of removal, but this fixing. Joint Exploration, that might have been it, which is like a little bit of ramp, isn't it? If you kick it. Taking the bite down. Again, a good card, but we've already got so many good cards. And just playing something like this Tangled Isle, I think, is exactly what you're looking for. Gotta go in the back and watch the... Let's take a look here. That's not what I want. Void Mage Prodigy, right? That's always a good card. It's always a reasonable card. Looking back at the VOD just to double check on Radiant Grove. Looks like the card was... Oh no, it was the Giant, wasn't it? 5 mana Frostfist Strider. 5 mana 4/4 Ward 2. Put a stun counter on something. Yep, didn't take the Joint Exploration, nor did we take the land. So it looks like Chris is going to be going... He's going to have, in theory, the most powerful cards, but his fixing and land count is obviously not going to be nearly as powerful as or potent as it could have been, and something that we probably want to focus on again. A Relic of Legends is a reasonable card. I don't know how many Legends we've got. Oh, but the ideal... Yeah, okay, perfect. Finally getting back around. Taking a blue-white land for the Dream Trawler. In theory, we could have had 3 of them now, which would have made me feel infinitely more comfortable, but... Shimmerdrift Veil. Now, is that a card that we need to... Shimmerdrift Veil. Is that pay 1 as it enters? And it enters tapped? No, okay, so it's a snow land, and you just pick a color, and only taps for that one color. Also not exactly where we want to be, but it works. Dream Trawler is what we call a 5 out of 5. There are very few cards that actually end up getting a 5 out of 5, win the game on their own. There's not a whole lot your opponent can do about it, and Dream Trawler is that card. Oh yeah, it is. It was one of the best control finishers for a little while in Constructed, and so therefore in Limited, it is An absolute bomb. A banger, if you will. I don't hate something like an Urtai Scorn here. And so when we opened up, chat started pogging off and everything went over super well. Kind of like Witch King of Angmar, but better. Yeah, it's definitely better than that, right? Continues to draw cards, continues to gain life, stabilize the game on its own. Man, I don't even know. I like this Death Toucher over here on the far right. The 2/4 is a perfectly fine card, but you're not getting full domain, so you're never actually drawing a card off of it, and so therefore it's just like continuing to fix your draws. But it's a 2/4 flyer. It's in your colors. Yeah. Yep, this 60 is definitely a pile of cards. And that's about it. If we're... Wow, the Joint Exploration Wield. All right. That's what we want, though. Yeah, I'm less concerned with fixing because we're really only playing, one double white card. And I'm more concerned with ramping. We need to get out fast to our... We got 2 6-drops. We got Dream Trawler. And we got the 7-drop Treefold. And I want to get to that on turn 5, right? Pick one was the Fire Fist Strider, which is the 5-mana... 5-mana giant. Wow, a Tangled Isle Wheel too? Jeez. Got getting lucky over here. Yeah, I think just in general, this whole deck is kind of waiting and hoping that like opponents have an okay draw, if not like an actually bad one. And then we got big old Vorinclex. Are we paying 8 mana? This is pack 6 contents. There's 6 packs. And we're moving into pack 6. Vorinclex is a card. It's a big 10 mana card. I don't know, man. I don't know. We haven't picked up that much ramp. I think I'd rather see the Invasion. I'd rather see the Realmbreaker's Grasp. I'd rather see the Pest. But what can we do? Yeah, things get pretty darn good, and they're a little bit higher powered. But one of the things to note is that we're playing 60 cards, right? Your expectation is you're playing 60 cards rather than just 30 or 40. But if you think about it, in 45 cards out of 3 packs, you're playing about 24 of them. Yeah, for 16 lands, 23 of them, 23 playables is what you're shooting for in a normal draft. And so that's approximately 8 cards per pack. Now, let's go. Oh, never mind. I thought it was Invasion of Zendikar. Invasion of Ixalan, still very good, and I would probably recommend it, but we want Invasion of Zendikar. As soon as that thing shows up, whoo. Copper Host Crusher over the Vorinclex? Yeah, maybe. Copper Host Crusher is certainly something you might also be able to pick up. Wary Thespian also kind of works out pretty well. Eyes of Gitaxis is another very powerful card. Seed of Hope allows you to kind of continue to move on. I think the Invasion is definitely something you can do. The Wary Thespian, those are like the big 3 that I'd look towards. But contents, you want about 8 cards per pack in a regular draft. This sort of draft, you'd be looking at something about 6 cards per pack because you've got 6 packs. You need about 36 or so, 35 playables. And so therefore, you need about 6. Now, some packs, like our first Dom pack, were pretty bad, and other packs like the Kamigawa pack and maybe this Mom pack are just generally stronger. So you might find yourself... Oh, there's a cat in our yard. That's very cute. You might find yourself playing more out of some than others. But it's a good time. I think I like this Assimilate Essence. People are going to be playing creatures, right? It's one of the main reasons to go about it. It doesn't play well into sagas, particularly. But I think there's going to be plenty of creatures about. I think this Wildwood Escort's just going to be a little bit too expensive. You heard that I always play 17 lands? It sounds like you don't actually watch my stream very well. I play 15 lands all the time now in Lord of the Rings Limited. Give me 4 cyclers, and I'm playing 15 lands, dude. All the time. 13? Get out of here, dude. I don't want to play that. You know, Skittering Surveyor's okay, but I'd much rather play this Kami over here on the right. Like, they're functionally going to do something similar, but the Kami's a ramp, whereas the Skittering Surveyor is fixing, right? I don't think the extra toughness is really what you want to be at. Skits? You like the Skittering Surveyor? No, give me the Kami of Whispered Hopes. I want a Kami. They did the same thing, but my Kami ramps at the same time. One thing to note, Tangled Skyline, phenomenal card, exactly kind of what you want to be doing to help stabilize, but I think we got a lot of those stabilizing, you gain some life, big cards. Oh, I looked away. I was reading Evan's comment. Did we take the Skittering Surveyor? It looks like we probably did, would be my guess. He is cuter, you're absolutely right. Do we have 1/1 counter synergies? No, I don't think so. We don't really have a whole lot of synergies at all. It's a little bit of this, a little bit of that from each of the packs. Nothing overly that power. We're playing cards that have mana costs. Some of them have power and toughness. Others of them have abilities of different kinds. And really nothing overall that exciting. Some of our cards have lots of power and toughness, and that's about it. There's not too many actual synergies going on in the deck, which I think is going to cause Chris to struggle quite a bit. Most of them have the same card back. Yeah, that's about where we're at, right? I have Magic the Gathering cards. You know, Corruption of Tawashi is a great card in the set. Yeah, I mean, he's got 1 or 2 different transform cards in the option here. Yeah. It just feels like anything actually worth a whole lot is just not coming around. I have to wonder if there might be another green drafter like to his right pretty quickly. And that maybe some of our first couple of picks really sort of... One thing you didn't really see Chris do is kind of like, you know, change colors or really consider any like major red or black cards. Because there were definitely a couple like, you know, removal spells, that kind of thing that came around, in black. Didn't see too much of that. Hey, if we had one card that could tie it all together, that would be the card. I don't think there could be a better possible pick in this pack than an Emoti, right? He's got 6 cards that all cascade off of that. That was a pretty good pickup. As far as Dispersal, very good utility card. Happy to see that one come through. Even Storm the Seed Core was something else that we'd be happy to do. I don't think we want to play many of these cards. Might have picked something else instead of the Emoti. I don't know, man.
Microsoft Edge browser comes with AI tools to help you make the best purchase decision. Oh, that was easy. Let cutting-edge features find you deals. How will you shop and save with Edge?
Here it goes. I talk to my plants like they're babies.
Hey, you don't need to get that personal to get the State Farm Personal Price Plan. It just helps you create an affordable price. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or click to get a quote today.
The Sonic 2 for $7 deal lets you choose from a Sonic cheeseburger, chicken sandwich, and 6-piece Mott Sticks. Any combination you want. It's like your birthday, but without that weird email from your dentist. Sonic 2 for $7 deal.
It's your journey. Own every mile in the Hyundai Elantra. Get an Elantra with 3.49% APR for 60 months or get $750 bonus cash. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today.
Game over. Yeah, right, son? Did you like camping so much? Maybe you'll need these. Stay in your game with DoorDash.
Good draft. Very fun. We'll see how things end up actually panning out. He's got looks like 55 cards, but he's got about 8 lands in there as well. So about 10 cuts or so here for Chris. Maybe 12. I think that should be pretty easy to do. This card, that card, these kind of cards are okay. But we'll come back here shortly for it. Do you guys want to end up watching Chris as he sort of does this, or do we want to kind of come back to a splash screen like this? We just see what cards he takes out. I can leave it here. I'll be right back, gang.